Okay, starting the recording. How are you? Everybody's good? Yes. It's strange because I don't see Beku and Steffi. Let me check if they sent a message on the Patreon just to see if they have a problem connecting, and I don't think so. I have one Patreon notification, but I don't know where. Okay. Okay, I guess that we can start, and then I will see if we are going to make them come inside the Zoom, because there is the waiting room as usual. I will take it off. So today, I'm going to take my notes. We are going to talk about perfectionism. I said few, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, a talk, an interview. It was a talk, but not the TED talk of Brené Brown, which is a therapist, and she made like she went viral some years ago with a TED talk about vulnerability. And then I found out another, I don't know if it's a TED talk or something. I guess it's another TED talk. I don't know if you can do both, two in life anyway. And I took some notes, and it gave me the idea of doing this class about the perfectionism. As usual, we are going to start with a very small meditation, and then with a self-portrait. I guess that here in the live, Barbara, Sala, and Justine, everybody knows how we do the class. It's not the first time for no one here, but for those who catch the replay, I advise you to keep your journal, your graphic journal, open to the next new page, and keep near you your pouch with your tools, with pens, your favorite pens and everything, because we are going to do into the drawing right after the meditation. Okay. I'm sorry, maybe there is some noise because I have the washing machine going. Can you hear the noise? Do you want me to pause it? No, it's okay? Okay, perfect. So, as usual, we are going to come into a comfortable position. Okay, try your best of the moment to find your seat and sit in stillness. And every day, every time, our best may be different. So we work with what we have, who we are today. You can close the eyes if you feel like to, or you can just use a soft gaze and look down to your thighs or down in front of you. We're going to stay in our breathing. We are going to use the breathing as an anchor where we can always come back when we notice that our mind wanders. No judgment, no guilt, no shame into having the mind wandering while we meditate. Just we notice it like, oh, my mind is going off to the grocery shop list or bills to pay, And then, okay, I'm coming back to the breathing. And we breathe very soft. If it's difficult to be conscious of the breathing, maybe we can attach ourselves to the physical sensation of the breathing. For example, our belly or our lungs or our shoulder. We may notice like our belly expand a little bit when we inhale, and maybe the shoulder coming up. And then when we exhale, we may notice the shoulder relaxing down. And maybe if we breathe with the belly, we may feel the belly getting smaller, contracting, and then expanding when we breathe in. Try to notice all this micro or maybe mega movement you do when you breathe in and when you breathe out. If it's still difficult to notice, maybe you can place your hand on the belly. Maybe you can cross your hand in front of you and touch your shoulder. And like notice how all your boost, the chest, the belly, the shoulder move when we breathe. We're going to do some breathing like this in silence, just with noticing. And while we feel our heartbeat slowing down, we imagine ourselves seated in a safe space. Maybe it's in the wood or on the beach, on the grass or in a cool, comfy room. The first image that popped to your mind is the good. You don't have to look for the perfect space. First space that comes to your mind, it's your space. And you're going to design it at your inner space in which you can sit calm. It's a very safe space. It's a space that makes you feel like you can be yourself because there is no judgment, no shame, and no guilt. Maybe you can look around and take mental notice of how this place looks like. Take it all in, because maybe it's a place you want to come back once in a while when you meditate. And maybe it's also a place you can mentally come back while we do the class, or while during life you feel that you're not safe. And while we are still seated with the eyes closed, I invite you to hug yourself. Hug your arms around yourself and place your hand above the opposite shoulder, left hand on the right shoulder and the right hand on the left shoulder. And then you can feel your lungs and your shoulder move while you breathe. And you can hold yourself. You can feel the self-love. And we are going to set the intention of keeping this hug to ourselves during the whole class. Maybe during the whole life, but let's start with the graphic journaling class. Make one last squeeze, hug yourself. Maybe you can move your arm a little bit more. When you feel like it, place your hand on your thighs, roll your shoulder. One last big inhale. And then exhale. And when you feel like it, we can open the eyes and come to our graphic journal. Next, new page. And we are going to start with a very simple self-portrait in a technique that we often use, and that is the technique of the connection between the eye and the hand. Okay, the hand-eye connection. This means that usually maybe you're not allowed to look at the paper, but just look at what you are drawing. So now it's your face, and then it's like ideally, energetically, you connect the eye and the hand. So when you look right, the hand goes right, and you look down, the hand goes down, and then you look this way, and your hand is following just what you see. Your hand is guided to draw just by your eyes. So the exercise, it's more fun if you rely only on what you see, and so you don't look at the paper. If it's too difficult, sometimes you can look at the paper, maybe just to, okay, where am I? Okay, I was drawing the eye, and now I'm going to the side of the face, and I can't really find where the way. Okay, you can briefly look at the paper, but what you draw is only what you see. And also, the second thing is if sometimes you look down just to see where you at, don't judge what you're drawing. It's not like, oh, I always not in the right place. Just carry on. This is the reason it's better not look at the paper, because so you can't judge your drawing. Just you go and you enjoy this effect of looking. Even if it's uncomfortable, because we are going to put a timer. So even if it's uncomfortable of not looking at the paper, it's okay, because in a moment the timer will set the end of the exercise, and so the discomfort will end. So if you can, don't look at the paper. If not, look briefly at the paper. I'm going to put a timer, and I'm going to put maybe 4 minutes. Okay, it's a quite long time, so you don't have to rush. You look what you're drawing. We will draw. We will have some writing exercise, but also drawing. We will draw some more today's class. So this kind of exercise is like a warm up before going on a run. So we want to spend 4 minutes in drawing what we see, so that our hands get warm. Okay, let's go. 4 minutes. It's just a line work, so pick one color and then go. If you are on Zoom, you can click on your face to have your face bigger, and if you are catching the replay, go in front of a mirror or use your phone. In any moment that you see too much noise from the washing machine, please tell me if this happens so that I can stop it and then we save the replay, please. Okay, still 1 minute and 36 seconds to go. So you have time to. One minute to go. Okay. So, oh. Okay. Okay. So let's start our class. So as I was saying, is a class about perfectionism and what does it means, and especially what does it do to us. I'm not sure about the form of English. So I made the exercise we are going to do. I've made them after, as I was saying, listening to this Bene Brown, I guess, TED talk, and some interview. She made the difference between perfectionism and striving for perfection. She made the difference because striving for perfection, she say, is something that make us dynamic into improvement. Like we work into the perfecting ourselves into, I don't know, our art technique or our human skill or anything that you can think of. I guess everybody is different. So she said that perfectionism is like something we want to improve. And then maybe I will add that it's also a way, if we strive for perfection and we work toward making ourselves better in some way, is like we recognize that we have difficulties, or we have flaws, or we have incapabilities. I'm not sure if it's the right word, but in the same time, we recognize also that we have the control over the fact that we want to work on this. We are not victim of things that we can't do, but we just recognize them and we make them not personal, but we work towards it. And she said that, but she said that perfectionism is another thing. It's something that make us like often is not a dynamic. I may translate it how I understand what she says. Is like it's not something that we do, but it's something that we are victim of, because we are the perfectionism. We often act on what we do out of shame and judgment and blame, because the perfectionist is like everything has to be perfect, not to self-pleasure of improving themselves, but out of fear of judgment and blame and shame. And so the thing is that she say that it's a way, it's a coping mechanism of protecting ourselves. When we are perfectionist about something, we want to protect some part of yourself from those judgment and blame. And so she asked an open question that is what we are afraid of, and often and no, not often. And the thing is, the things that we are afraid of often the judgment, the shame, the blame. And so in today's class, I guess that it will be fun to work on it, because I guess, or maybe you can tell me if you never experience a fear of shame or judgment or blame, maybe you can raise your hand and tell us how you do it. But in some way, I guess that no one has never experienced zero fear of shame or judgment. And she explained this because she said that each human that is able to empathize and connect with other human has also the capability to connection, and therefore having this capacity also make him vulnerable, and vulnerability often come with the fear of this shame. And this is very, very interesting. So before we continue the exercise, just another little explanation. She said that vulnerability is not a weakness. I guess that people who do the graphic journaling knows this, because we work a lot of this. Vulnerability is it's our spot that is this part. Sometimes we have this kind of exercise. Also, like I guess in maybe last time, or I guess when we work about the personality and the essence, the vulnerability is being able to show who we are. So don't use the personality. If you didn't catch the reply from January, you can catch it in, I guess, if they are connected. So vulnerability is not a weakness, but so what is this? Do you want to maybe say it, or you have an idea, or? I don't want to put you on the spot, just if every time in the class, if you want to say something, you can. So she said that vulnerability is, she said three things. Vulnerability, so difficult to say. It's emotional risk, and it's exposure, and it's uncertainty. How do you say, pronounce it? Uncertainty. So she said those three things: the emotional risk, so interacting and putting our feelings at risk, or having the feeling exposed, or having uncertainty. Well, it's the life itself. So if we fear this, like, we stay stuck, and this is maybe sometimes make our perfectionist. And so she said that the vulnerability is the measurement of courage. And I guess it's very, very cool thing to say. Like, the more you put yourself at emotional risk or exposure, or accept the uncertainty, and the more you can advance in your life, because those things will happen for sure. And since here we are all artists or graphic journaling artists, I guess that this is always like very connected to doing art, because this can be, we talk about this about life, but also in what we do when we create something. Creating is doing something that never existed before. And so the more you are true to yourself, and the more you will do something that it's totally you, and so it's totally creative. So let's do a small writing exercise. So we talk about the perfectionism, and perfectionists come from often the fear of being judged, of the shame. And so often this it's very connected to the vulnerability. So I would like to make a list. So first thing, does it make sense, the connection between vulnerability and the fear of the shame? Does it make sense? Because I just realized that I inverted my notes, so maybe I wanted to say this after, because I was afraid that it was maybe difficult, but no, it's makes sense, this. Okay, so we are going to do a list of, for you, find those places where you find more difficult in your life of being vulnerable. Can be big things, small things, work related, personal relationship related. You can write everything, but I would like to write down in a list, like a grocery store list, what blocks you from being vulnerable, if maybe you are totally vulnerable. And let's talk about this, but just put a list, and just put the finger on those places in your life you feel you are protecting yourself, you can't be vulnerable, so you can't be true with who you are. Okay, maybe 3 minutes, and then if it's not enough, we are going to add 1 spare minute, but maybe 3 minutes. Okay, so what is blocking you from being vulnerable? Okay, 1 minute and 50 to go. If you can't find anymore, let's scan through your body and think about all the things of your life. And every time you feel like a tightness in the body, maybe you are protecting yourself in some way. You're not being allowed to be vulnerable. Okay. Do you have enough time? So you have this list you just made, and I would like you to, for each list you have, just draw a little arrows, and for each item of the list you made, I would like you to answer this question. What do you say to yourself when you feel this impossibility to be vulnerable, this shame of being vulnerable? Let's, okay, when you feel this, because the fear of being vulnerable is often the shame of ourselves. Bene Brown say that the shame is like feeling of being bad. It's like the difference from she say the guilt and the shame is like when you feel guilt about something, it's like focusing on a behavior you had. So you say to something, sorry, I did this bad thing. But when you feel shame at the same time, you say, sorry for doing this bad thing, I don't know. But in the meantime, you are meaning sorry for being this bad thing. You can't make the difference with the shame without a bad action, and yourself. So it's not I make a mistake with the guilt, but it's like I am a mistake. So she do this comparison about the fear of being vulnerable is the shame, because when you're vulnerable, you show yourself for who you are. But if you feel shame, this means that you are no good. So this is the vocabulary. So for the list you had, let's answer the question: what do you say to yourself when you feel shame or when you feel that you can't be vulnerable? Okay, so for each item, an arrow, a new answer, and 3 minutes. Let's go. Maybe you can take a different color. Maybe you can write down the question just to know what you are writing when you will come back to your journal, maybe within the months. And probably you want to start everything you say to yourself with I'm like this, or je suis, or sono. En tout cas, in any way, it's like something you say to yourself that describe yourself. So it's like, I'm like this, I'm. Okay, 1 minute to go. Okay. So she say that often the things that we say to ourselves is mostly like, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, who do I think I am? Do you have a similar answer or version of it, or do you want to share it if you want? Or write it in the chat if you want. I don't know if the chat is anonymous. Don't. So I don't know if anyway, so we say this to us when we feel in fear of, when we feel shame about ourselves. And as we were saying, it's like some kind of misplaced coping mechanism. And we say this to her like we are a monster, an enemy of ourselves. Because if we say to ourselves, I'm not enough, I'm gross. I have in my exercise, I have all sorts of things. I'm not enough, I'm gross, I'm boring, I'm not talented, I'm selfish, not important. So a lot of bad things that I'm thinking, if somebody external would say this to me, I would say, this person is an asshole, because how you dare to talk to me this way? But the truth is that we talk each other, ourselves, not each other. We talk this way to ourselves. most people that speak us very harshly is ourselves. It's not very fun. So I would like to make two different exercises very quickly. If you have space on the side of these things of you write, like I'm. I would like you to, maybe we can just do a very quick exercise, not very fun, but on the side of each things that you say to yourself, if you feel like it, we can maybe write whose voice is this. When you say to yourself you are not enough, who's talking? Is it someone? Is it some from the past? Is it one version of yourself? It's not very easy to do it because it's not very fun to do this kind of exercise, but as usual, we have the timer. So we will put just maybe 1 minute timer. So it will be not easy, but not very long. If it's okay for you, Ula, if it's okay for you to put a 1 minute timer. And then for this 1 minute that we have, you read each item you say to yourself, and then let's write whose voice is this. Okay, so let's go. 1 minute. If you can answer, if you can't and it's difficult, don't go there. Maybe it's just a sensation of like these things is the voice of from this person, of this category of person. You don't need to, it's like a feeling. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be right. Okay. So when you have finished, maybe raise your hand. I find a message in the chat. Every time I feel vulnerable, it looks, I back to my fears and I'm but scared. Each time I'm vulnerable, I look back, it looks back to my fears and I'm but scared. Means that each time that you feel vulnerable, you look at your back to your fear that make you scared, like full vulnerability and fear are connected. Okay, thank you for sharing. So we just recognize that, okay, every time there is something that is blocking you from being vulnerable. First exercise we did, this come from some feeling of shame, of some feeling of maybe not. I do an example with mine. Maybe I have this item on my list that what is the feeling behind it, that okay, I don't feel enough. Okay, when I say to myself I don't feel enough, who's saying this? And then I find out, maybe I don't even have a real example, but I found out that this is maybe some person, maybe from my family, maybe from my work, maybe from my school life, and maybe it's not even true, or it can be go addressed, but anyway, you can thank yourself, because this is very vulnerable to just writing this kind of list and having those names on the paper. It's a very big vulnerability. And so it sucks to feel this, but it happens to everyone. And so what we want to do today is using our art and our imagination to make it, to turn this into something that we can in some way control. So I would like you to, very quick, reading your list that you have, all the I am, or I am like this, I am like this, I am like this, and reading with the you are, like it's somebody saying this to you. In your mind, you imagine that, for example, if I have in my list, I'm not enough, what I'm saying to myself, I'm reading in my mind, you are not enough. Like somebody's telling to me, you are not enough. I'm boring, or you are boring, okay? So maybe what we can do while you read it, you can take a different color, and for each I am that you have, you write up you are. Okay, just to make it clear, a different color, because you don't want to, this is the exercise you want to remember, you don't want to cancel the correct that you cancel, just write it, you are like this. And now, so let's think about who is it saying this to us. You are not enough, you are gross. It's something that is not very cool. So let's name it our shame. So this is probably our own sense of shame, our own personal shame that is saying to us, you're not enough, you are gross, you don't have talent and everything. What we are going to do, we are going to take the next blank page, and we are going to draw the portrait to this shame. We are going to draw the creature, the monster, the person, the hybrid monster, and not that is saying all this to us. So we are taking the whole page, the time to draw our shame. Let's get very creative on this. There is no right way to draw your shame. You can draw it like a very awful monster, or you can draw it like a very beautiful but very mean character, like a vampire that is like maybe seducting but deadly. Anyway, I wanted to make the portrait of your shame, and on the side you will write all the sentence that you just make it into the I am, into you are. Okay, so this monster or this character is saying you are not enough, you are gross, or whatever. So you can choose to make like balloon, like in a comic, like in a cartoon, and then the person is saying this. You can choose just to write all the things that this monster or this character say, just you write down. I don't care. You do what you prefer. It's like you do your own version. There is no right way. The only right way is like doing what you feel to. So we are going to draw our shame. We are going to take pleasure in drawing our shame. We can imagine these people, this character who tell this to ourselves. And I want you to, in the same drawing as the image, must be also the sentence that you write down. So you have all in the same place. Is it clear? So let's take a look at the time. Okay, maybe we can take like 8 minutes, and if I hope it will be enough, and if it's not enough, we are going to add the time. And also maybe if you feel like it during this time, we are going to take this time to draw. If you have a question, or if you want to share something, it's okay. We are halfway through. So really take the time to, so that next time that you will hear those shame talks of shame, I don't know how to say, you will know who is talking to you. Okay, 2 minutes to go. Okay. Is it enough time? So then you can always come back to finish it a little bit more later, but it's always difficult to manage, because drawing time should be maybe longer every time we do this class. But since we are on Zoom, it's also difficult to condense the replay if it take too much time. But if there is something that it's unfinished, you can come back it later. Anyway, so Bene Brown says, shame leaves nourish themselves with all it's about secrecy, silence, judgment. The more you don't talk about it, the more you don't express the shame, the more it grows, because it's the same of not being vulnerable. It's something you don't show yourself or who you are, and you want to hide this. So she said that that empathy save from shame. So what or who will save us from this monster? How can be saved from this? Can I'm like dying to see your shame drawing before continuing, because do you want to share it? Maybe I can show you mine. Okay, Justine has like some Hitler face of shame, and Sarah has this very classy, posh, vampire-looking character. And then we have Barbara, Plastic Bambina, who has this monster, but it's also like a kiddo, like demonic kid, like some like this. I have this, I don't know if I can show you. I have this, where is this naked, I don't know, dominatrix, I guess, with like latex boot, like how do you call this boot, like this, you know, like very fetish, don't know why. My so who will save us from all these characters that may be funny but also are not very comfortable? So Bene Brown says it's empathy. Do everybody knows what is empathy? Empathy is when you can walk in somebody else's shoes. Do you say it like this in English? When you can put yourself in other people's shoes, when you can imagine, when you can feel and imagine what somebody's at, like you can sense what somebody else is feeling. So what we can do now maybe is, when we are in a situation in which this monster, this character, not monster, I don't know why I keep saying monster, so maybe it's what I want to say, it's monster. When we are in this situation, then we know that when we hear all the talk about the shameful talk, you're not enough, but it's from our head, but this kind of character is not very funny. Maybe we can just imagine for a moment what do we want to hear when we hear this. Is there some voice, some answer that we would like to give to this monster? Is if we can dream about one voice that comes from another side and say back to this shame, something that make our life better, what would we hear? Is it we are going to take a few minutes to think about it and write it down. It can help to maybe see yourself attacked by this character, this monster you draw, when he's saying to you all the things that you can read on the drawing you made. This is the reason you put all the words. You can look at the drawing, but also maybe feeling yourself seated in the space, the space that we visited at the beginning with the meditation. And so we want to imagine that we are there, sit in our cool space, and so we are safe, and this monster telling us all those things. And there is a voice that arrived from the outside that save us, and for each sentence that you wrote on another page, you want to wrote the answer. Does it make sense? It's not the answer. What it says back to save you from this. You don't have to have the mental charge of answering to your monster, because maybe it's too difficult. Sometimes we are afraid. But imagine there is some savior, some superhero, some avenger, some angel, or I don't know, some spirit, some voice that come from outside. And so on the next page, we are going to take 2 minutes to write back an answer, a saving answer for each sentence you put on the page. Okay? 2 minutes, it's not too much. So let's go. You read one sentence and maybe you can pick a cool color and you write down the answer. But it's like, sorry, it's not you, it's somebody else. So you can also write in you. So you're not enough, you are blah blah blah. Okay, you don't have to bring it to take it on your own. It's not like you're not enough, yes I'm enough. No, it's like you're not enough and some magic voice come and you are blee blee blee. Okay, blee blee blee. Let's go. I imagine that the answer would be like the opposite, but not, you're not enough. It can be you are enough, but it can be something else. You do you. And feel this voice, feel also the emotion that this kind of voice bring to you. Make the expansion in your heart to welcoming. Notice the expansion this maybe create in your heart. How does it feel good to have this voice saying all those nice things to you? Breathe into this sensation and make it the more and more bigger. Don't shut it down. Okay. So now very quickly, you heard this voice. How does it felt to hear this instead of hearing the shameful? Okay. So with this feeling is very good. I would like you maybe on the same page, but with another color or maybe a new page. Now let's draw this voice. Who is this person? Maybe it's just a symbol. Maybe you just want to pin down with one symbol, one element. It's some element of nature. Maybe it's a face, maybe it's a character. This is up to you. I just want to give a shape to this voice, so it's more easy to access it. It's less abstract. Okay. Let's take 2 minutes and draw the appearance of this voice. One minute to go. Okay. So what this character is showing us, what's happening, what this character do to us, it's showing us empathy towards ourselves, giving love, and this is the way of maybe shutting out the shame, because shame doesn't feel good to listen to, even if it's like a very hot domina in high boots character, but doesn't feel very good. So using the empathy, using the loving, opening the heart, we can shut it out. Then I wrote down, when I was preparing the class, I wrote down real question. I write down this real question, but it's right like this. Real question. Is it possible to empathize with our own shame? Is it something that like, is it possible to do to you, or it's like impossible, not envisageable, not real question? It means that it's not not sure about the answer. I'm sure about the answer, but there is no right answer. For me, I guess yes, we can empathize it, because as Bene Brown was saying at the beginning of this class, she wasn't saying it, I was saying it, but I was quoting Bene Brown at the beginning of the class. when we were talking about perfectionism. So this very strong feeling of making it things right, not in an improving way, but in a very fearful way that everything must be perfect. This is a way that we try to maybe protect ourselves from the judgment, from being called not enough, the judgment of shame. So like shame, this character you draw, it's the bad guy, but it's not their fault of being like this. It's like the role. But it's maybe without this, we couldn't look at ourselves and say, okay, maybe I am good enough. We will always maybe feel shame because we are human and because we interact. The only thing is not believing it right away or not for so long. So what I would like to do is, before we finished, okay, we still have 5 minutes, maybe we go 5 minutes off board because we started maybe 5 minutes late, if it's okay for you, because I would like to finish by drawing our lock screen for the month. So we can draw something that we can put it as the lock screen of the telephone, or print it and put it on the fridge. Sara, you have to go.
No, che cos'è il lock? Cosa dobbiamo...
Lock screen is this. Where is my camera? Is this the thing of your telephone, which, how do you, okay, tac, ça marche pas. Okay, this, you know, when you have your telephone and you want to see the hour, we do this so many times a day. We pick at the phone and look at the notification, or what time is it, or maybe somebody sent a message. So even if we don't notice it, we look at the lock screen of the telephone so many times a day. So I guess it's funny to draw. We did this probably last time, for sure in September anyway, that we draw something that we put here so that we can, it's like we can practice what we did in the graphic journaling, because when we see the drawing, we remember to put empathy. Now we will remember to put empathy into the shame we may feel. So for doing this, I would like you to draw. We are going to, and you will find your own way, in your artist way. We are going to find a way of merging the two characters, like the voice that save us, that give us empathy, but also our shame, because they will forever be together, hopefully. Anyway, shame will always be part of the human condition in one way or another. The fear of not being enough, or maybe you are so, I don't know, did so many years of therapy and you don't have trauma, and so you are so perfect that you then never have this negative feeling, or you are the Dalai Lama, or I don't know who, but in some way you will always have this. And from now on, you will remember that all these things, these talks, we will come forever also with the loving voice. So you may hear, I would like to do this, but I'm not enough. And it's okay, but you always know that probably you are enough and what you do matter in some way. And so I guess it would be fun to draw the two characters together. Let's find a way of merging them, and within yourself, it may be you with the two characters, it will be maybe you with 3 heads, or with, I don't know, you do what you do. Or if it's too difficult to you, maybe you can just do the nice character, but in some way we also have to see the shame, because we don't want to close the eyes in front of negative emotion, because when we close the eyes in front of negative emotion, like we have the shame that tell us we are not enough. If we only do like this, we will live like this. It is not fun. Just to don't hear the shame, you will not hear anything else. You will not see anything else. When I see this, it's like emotionally speaking, it's like if you shut out one negative feeling, you will shut out all the feelings. It's like we were talking today with a friend about the Call Me by Your Name. I read the book, but I don't remember the end. But in the movie, there is this very cool end, because the Timothée Chalamet, which is very cute, very young but very cute, says cry because his boyfriend is leave, and his father say, don't shut out the sadness, because you will shut out also the good memory, also the love. So keep the sadness, so you will keep the feeling, the emotion going. So we are going to do this. We want to keep them together. Shame and the other character, I don't know, the savior, or the good, the empathy. Sorry, I couldn't remember. So shame and empathy together in one drawing, with you or without you as a character. You will see. We are going to take 6 minutes to do it. Okay, let's go. And Okay, 2 minutes 38. Okay. We are done. How are you? Good. Cool. If you, I have to remember, maybe I will post this Bene Brown little TED talk about with the concept we talk about today. If you want, I can remember to link it in the Patreon when I post the replay. If you have a question, do you have question? No. Okay. So if you don't have any question, I will say goodbye to you. I'm going to post the replay very soon, and I will see you in a month. But I will have maybe to change the date. I'm still not sure, because anyway, I will write you in the Patreon about the only for the March date. Is still will tell you as soon as possible. Okay. Thank you so much for showing up in the live, so that I don't do the class on my own in front of the camera, because it's always more cool to have a human interaction. And thanks for the people who are catching the replay. Bye bye. Good night. Ciao. Bye bye.